Very few that could talk English at all. You know, it was all French. When I started school, not a word English. And we went to school to learn, read and write and talk English. And we couldn't speak English. But still we couldn't speak French on the school ground or in the classroom. If they'd catch us, if the teacher or the principal would catch us, they'd punish us, they'd bring us to the office, either whip us or they'd make us write lines and what have you.
Well, that's a terrible thing to do.
And we was in a bad shape. We couldn't speak English. How you going to speak if you don't know how to speak? We just had to get down to it and learn how to speak that English in the classroom.
So you were actually looked down on if you spoke French?
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Oh, yeah, so, and most of the town children would speak English.
Yeah.
And they'd laugh at it.
They'd laugh at it. The town people was higher than the country kids.
Is it the language that has kept the Cajun culture together? Is that what?
The Cajun is a funny creature. He's a hard worker.
A good lover.
He likes good time. He likes his friend. And
he likes his women.
Oh yeah, he likes to live, in other words. He likes everything good.
Like he said, you don't forget each other. You know, you can grow to be 85 or 95 years old, you still respect each other. You still like to meet and talk.
Hot boudin, hot boudin. All the Cajuns love is the hot boudin. The women love it, the men will shove it. Don't you want to taste that hot boudin? For breakfast and supper, in between some bread. When I want a snack, I eat it in my bed. We carry some with us everywhere we act. Now when the ladies see us coming, they say, I want that. When we run out, all they do is pout. Because the taste is so pleasing to the mouth. Hot boudin, hot boudin. All the Cajuns love is the hot boudin. The women love it, the men will shove it. Don't you want to taste that hot boudin?
At Johnson's Grocery, the Saturday queue for boudin goes round the corner. Matthew Johnson has to get up at 3 in the morning to start making it. So this is pork meat.
It's all
yeah,
pork.
all ground.
All ground.
And rice.
Rice cooked.
And what's in there?
You have onion tops, parsley, celery, and bell pepper.
And what about the Cajun flavor?
And whole onions. Whole onions chopped up.
Yeah, I mean, because the Cajun flavor is traditionally quite a hot flavor, so what do you put in for that?
We're going to put some red pepper and some black pepper. This is curing salt. We're required to put a little curing salt in.
So when did the Johnsons start making boudin?
I don't quite remember. My daddy started years back, which we've been in business since '37. And we've been making boudin since before they had stuff as we stuff it through the horn of a cow. If you know what that is.
No.
A horn of a cow. Okay, you know a cow has horns.
Yeah.
Okay, they would hollow the horn out, and they would put the casing onto the horn and stuff it with their thumb.
Oh, you wouldn't get that past the
all.
food inspectors nowadays, would you?
No, not at all. Come right out.
Cajun food's pretty hot, isn't it? Or,
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Now, but the American palate doesn't like hot things. Have you toned it down?
The boudin that we make during the week is not as hot as on Saturdays. A lot of people will come in and say, ooh, your boudin was too peppered last
Excuse me, that's your pepper.
Last Saturday was too peppered.
Yeah.
But they keep coming back for more. The same people, they'll complain about it. They'll come back for more.
Right.
God bless.
Excuse me. There's a lot of pretentious talk and a lot of exploitation of Cajun cooking. But boudin is good. And like the music, you need never be without it. They even sell it in the garages.
Hot boudin, hot boudin. All the Cajuns love is the hot boudin. The women love it, the men will shove it. Don't you want to taste that hot boudin? That boudin any time of the day. So if you want to get some, just come our way. So bring all your your friends down to Louisiana. They all can get a taste of that hot boudin. Yes, hot boudin, hot boudin. All the Cajuns love is the hot boudin. The women love it, the men will shove it. Don't you wanna taste that hot boudin? Spell it out, B-O-U-D-I-N, hot boudin.
Rayford Cormier rebuilt the place that his daddy built after they moved across the road from the other place that J. Saucier built before. I didn't see a fight in the cockpit at Cancton. Didn't much want to. This was what Rayford called sparring. Is it traditional among the Cajuns, cockfighting?
It sure is. It's always been done in Louisiana. As far back as you can remember, it's been a tradition in Louisiana. Even the President of the United States fought some chicken. And what most Cajuns likes about it, it's a family affair.
A family affair?
You can bring your kids out here with you and spend a Sunday afternoon very quiet, with your kids. Instead of having the kids run the street all over like they do in most cities, taking dope, half of them where their parents don't even know where they're at. They can be here with the parents at the fights and everything.
I mean, isn't it a bit violent for little children?
It's not violent. You can turn loose them two roosters when they're small and raise them together, and before they're 6 months old, they'll be fighting among themselves. We don't make them chicken fight. They'll go to fighting among themselves and kill each other.
But you put them together to fight?
Yeah, we put them together to fight. Give them a fair competition. We put them with the same weapon that the other one has. But if you take an old cock on the yard and a young one comes out, the old cock will have long spurs and the young one will have little short spurs. That's not a fair battle at all. This way we put them with the same weapon. Well, if it's natural spur or aluminum spur or gaff, we put them with the same weapon that the other one is equipped with.
What's the other thing? A natural spur is just what they've got. Do you also put other things on?
We put a natural spur. We'll take spurs off the old cock and we'll fix them and we'll tape it on there. Or we put an aluminum spur.
So what's this here?
This is a boxing glove, just like two boxes. You put that on that way he don't hurt himself.
But you don't use this in the regular matches?
No. This is just to spar them. But you see, right now, they'll hurt themselves more than people think. Yeah. For a 5-pound rooster, they hit as hard as a 200-pound man. You hold them right there, and the other one gets to jump on you.
But I mean, surely it can't give you any pleasure, I mean, to see them when they really damage themselves.
Well, it's an even chance. Does it give you pleasure watching a boxer when two humans are beating?
No, it doesn't. It doesn't.
Some people, it gives them a thrill.
Yeah, but because of that, I mean, I don't think I'd really like to watch this.
What kind of sport do you like?
Well, I like cricket, actually, but it's not quite the same. Close-cropped lawns with people in white garments were never the Cajun style. Traditional Cajun living was basic, introverted, sometimes primitive. They were smallholders, and when the cotton boom was coming, it was other people who combined peasant farms into the great plantations. The Cajun sense of economics just wasn't up to it. Many Cajuns were hardly using money. They preferred to barter. Then, around the turn of our century, came the oil. And with the oil came technical and salaried jobs. Servicemen traveled to 2 world wars and came back with different views. Prompted by these things and Huey Long's school books, the Cajuns put their heads out from the farms and the swamps to look at the 20th century. Thomas Arnaud, Jennifer Duplicham, Will you take Cajun past to be your future, to love and to cherish, even if they offer you a real good job in Chicago, as long as you both shall live?
Thomas and Jennifer, have you come here freely and without reservation to give yourselves to each other in marriage?
Yes.
Will you love and honor each other as man and wife for the rest of your lives?
I will.
What God has joined, men must not divide. As a sign now of your love and commitment to each other, you may now kiss the bride.
I'm the man who's riding the bicycle. Congratulations, you're very beautiful indeed, and congratulations to you too.
Better to be a younger sister at this wedding. The tradition is that if younger gets married first, everybody gets to see elder doing a dance in the bathtub, but somebody's forgotten the bathtub, so it's up to the bride and groom to entertain. Wedding sadism at its best. But if it's a Cajun wedding, it's inevitably going to be more hearty than high society, if not positively earthy. When it comes to wedding customs, you take your traditions from wherever you want, and this one is definitely from below the Bible Belt. Moutons, Guidries, Fontenauds, Leblanc. There are more than the original 100 Cajun surnames now. The original Acadians embraced many incomers, German, Indian, Anglo, Spanish among them. The Cajuns aren't just Americans, and they're not just some sort of quaint French survival. They are their own people. Of course, not even Cajuns are unaffected by the mobility of modern life, but this is certainly still a close-knit family. The bride's mother, this is the bride's mother, is married to the elder brother of the bridegroom, which makes her the sister-in-law of her own daughter. There are prairie Cajuns and there are swamp Cajuns. It's the prairie Cajuns who have most of the music. Swamp Cajuns, like Mike McIntyre, have a solitary, enigmatic world of not quite water. Bayous, waterways, marshes, and one of the world's great wildernesses, the Atchafalaya Basin. It's a tribute to it that you can still call it a wilderness after oil wells have been drilled in it. Almost every swamp cypress over 60 or 70 years old cut from it, and high-powered boats run all over it. But the moss still hangs from the cypress branches. It lives on air. It's not a parasite on the tree. There are deadly snakes, nutria, muskrats, deer, the Louisiana heron. The ever-proliferating crawfish still flourish.
This is the first year that they started leasing the land for the crawfish. The people that own the land actually say the crawfish come up from the ground, and it's their crawfish. They charging you so much money, $250 to fish there, and then also 20% of whatever you catch is theirs. And it shouldn't be like that, not in a free, open area like this.
I can't understand how anybody can own a place like this. I mean, how on earth do you know where you are in it, apart from anything else?
Well, I mean, there's charts and maps, but this basin is, the reason this basin is like it is, so beautiful, is because it's privately owned. I would say if they gave it to the state, it wouldn't be like this. This is a unique area of the Atchafalaya Basin that's owned by individuals. And it'll never change because the people have the right to say, no, I don't want a highway going through it. No, I don't want a bridge going over it. I mean, you start with the basics, a string and a hook, or a piece of wire to make a crawfish trap. And this is free, open country for you to come and put it where you want and to make $1 off of it. You know, it's just the enjoyment of making it yourself and making your equipment and being able to put it out and it work. You know, to bring even a sack of crawfish home to ball for supper for your family, you know, say, I did that. And that's what this is about.
That's traditional America, of course. I mean, that is the America that is vanishing.
Right. And this I hope will never change. I hope my boys can come out here and do the same thing I'm doing. Beautiful country. At night, you know, people always ask me that, man, you're not scared to go in there by yourself? I've been down here 32 years and ain't nothing got me yet. But if you know where you're going and you grew up here, it's nothing to it, really. But imagine if you take someone that's never been here, it looks spooky. They do have thieves out here. People actually come out here without owning a trap and run through here during the daytime, just pick them a spot and run a few here and run down a bar and run a few there. Make their living like that, fishing off everybody else. They caught a fella in Pierport, which is not far from here, a major crawfishing area. And they caught him stealing an outboard motor and cut off one of his hands. They chained him to a tree and cut off one of his hands. Nobody would ever find him. You know, I mean, a couple of days in the water, he's crawfish bait.
Where the tangled channels of the delta begin to meet a sea that is warm as blood, there are marshes where alligators flourish and the shrimp grow, and a place that is so near the end of solid earth that it's continually trying to turn itself back into an island. Ile Jean Charles is primitive. It has the quality that kept the Cajuns Cajun in the past, isolation. French is still a first language, and Chasson, Billot, and Grégoire are among the names. But they don't belong to Cajuns. They belong to a lost tribe of Indians who were given them by French missionaries long ago. The Homers were an ancient tribe, but peaceable, farmers and fishermen like the Cajuns. Like the Cajuns, they were dispossessed, and they migrated south till they could go no further. There among the marshes, like the Cajuns, they disappeared from view and were forgotten. The story is so familiar, the community so intact, it's almost as if they were the last and first Cajuns.
All right, I'm doing all right. I'm doing all right, thank you. You've got a beard like mine, haven't you? Got a moustache? No. Yeah, no, I can see it. You've got a moustache and a beard.
You got a moustache.
And some of these children are the despair of Kirby Verrett, who's the local truant officer, as well as being the head of the tribe. Trying to narrow the gap between 3,000 Homers and the 20th century has already given him a heart attack, which is joining the white man's world with a vengeance.
Well, we've been here, and it's just that people didn't know we were here. And we adapted to the seafood industry, shrimping, trawling, oystering, and people just didn't know we were here. In fact, right now, we're still fighting to prove to people that we truly exist. When we try to enter into the 20th century, we could not. We could not get into education because after the Civil War, there was only white people and black people in this part of the country. It was believed because supposedly all the Indians had been moved to Oklahoma Territory. And so here we show up to go to school, and there were schools for whites, and they didn't want us in their schools. And there were schools for blacks, and they didn't want us. So there was no place for us to go. And all we could do was try to prove that we were Indian and we deserved an education like anybody else.
When did you succeed in proving that you were Indian and managing to get real education?
Well, we knew we were Indians, but it wasn't until the late 40s that the public authorities even thought about trying to do something as far as education. And by the mid-50s is when they finally built Indian schools that they said we had to attend. And then it wasn't until 1963 we could actually enter the public high schools. Unfortunately, though, all the people that were left out of education have a long way to catch up. We all have a long way as a people to even get into this mainstream of society, to be able to get the good jobs and be able to diversify and have a regular income.
If there is any advantage to being underprivileged, it may be that if you are, the world is a little more real, a little more down to earth.
That's one thing. You know, if the world economy, U.S. economy ever fell, there'd be very little change for most of our people, because we've been used to living on the land, living off the waters, and those people that if they had to leave what they've got, they couldn't survive. They've lost the native skills to survive. And so we wouldn't be so hurt as far as the dream collapsing, you might say. If you're not caught in the big dollar jobs, you get to appreciate the things that surround you. I know that my ancestors were here a long time before anybody else came here. The reality of life is that as hard as we work, doesn't matter how much money you have, you still have a uniqueness and a history that nobody else has. And you see all the things that's done, the erosion, the pollution, all these things. We create our own problems. And you wish you could get other people to understand that you're only here for so many years. And if you don't protect what's here and know the people that's your blood and know your neighbors, nobody's going to remember you anyway in 100 years from now.
And so I took the riverside road they call Cancer Alley, because of all the chemical factories that have been built along stretches of the Mississippi. Generations of Louisiana politicians have welcomed them for their easy revenues, with barely a thought for the morrow. I left Cajun country, and I headed for New Orleans, where a different America was waiting. This America was bigger, rougher, more commercial. It was consumed by consuming. It had less time for the little people who had made it what it was. New Orleans was a great city, an exciting city. Side by side with its own culture, it was selling Cajun food, Cajun music, and Cajun T-shirts. It seemed to me that the exploitation of the Cajun cult might be a greater danger to the survival of the real thing than anything else in America at large. Obviously, any culture is going to change. And in the years to come, the Cajun language in particular is going to find it difficult to renew itself. But as yet, it's alive and kicking among a bunch of people who still know who they are and where they came from. And as for the T-shirts, well, perhaps they'll just keep people warm in those little country towns, because there are plenty of Cajun heads that are too firmly screwed on to be easily turned. Except, of course, to music.
Volgende week weer een aflevering van Een Reiziger, getiteld Door de Indonesische archipel. Ook weer om 7:10 op Nederland 3.